Oh, Everealm's amazing. It's where real people get to be heroes. The connection between Everealm through the fates. There's always going to be trouble, and there's going to always need people to save it. So
Yeah.
it's rich.
So where did this idea come from? I mean, you told us before in the panel, but for our audiences that weren't at the panel,
Sure.
Where did this idea come from?
We worked at New Line Cinema, and during the time of Lord of the Rings, on which I was an executive producer, all the actors went down early so they could become proficient with swords and archery and horses and so on. And we used to get videotapes back.
And I got outraged.
Yeah.
I was like, why do actors get to have all the fun?
Right.
Why can't it be us? Why can't it be the normal people? We should be able to go and act like heroes. And
Right.
so that...
And then years later, when we started our own company, post New Line, and we were thinking about, we really would love to make television. So we thought we should try that idea. And that was the seed.
And we pulled in the scout team, and then pulled in the Amazing Race team. And, these are 3 companies that have done pretty extraordinary things. And there was... it's a high wire act to do this and to do it well, and we all just thought it was too exciting to not do. And so when Disney Plus said, hey, let's do this thing, because they have the same vested interest in pushing storytelling, I mean, it's a dream for producers.
Yeah.
Excellent.
How important is it to be able to escape to worlds like Everealm, like Middle Earth, for just the average person?
Did you say how hard is it?
How important?
How important? I think it's critical. I mean, Tolkien used to write about how, in the same way that if you were ever captured, it was your sort of duty to try to escape. That to escape, people want to escape some of the challenges of the real world, but more important than that, in the fantasy world, you can access things that help you transcend, things that might feel like limitations. But when you work them out within a fantasy context, you realize they could actually manifest in reality, maybe more than you think.
Could we see some nods or Easter eggs from the original series in this current show?
Well, you'll have to watch. There are Easter eggs throughout the series, both for history of Everealm and also perhaps some Disney Easter eggs. So hopefully people will find them. They aren't overt, but every
Right.
once in a while there's a good one. There's a few overt ones.
Since the original Quest, there have already been leaps and bounds in technology, in just how you can film things. How did that change things for you this time? How does the scope widen?
Well, you would think we ended up carrying really small cameras and running around and doing it the easy way, but no, we don't do it that way. We shot it anthropomorphically to push
We like things to be hard.
to push the cinematic nature of it.
Yeah.
Because what the trick with this one, because there's so much more scripted, the handoff between scripted and reality needs to feel sort of an equal patina.
Yeah.
And so we really went for it. Actually, we upped our ante on that. But technology always continues to push our thinking. And I will say we have some plans for the next season that get really exciting on that front. But we used a little bit of 3D projection. We probably used more 3D projection in the first one. It's clunky, right, for these kinds of things. So we use different forms and different tricks to use with the kids.
So the original show had 12 contestants. What made you all decide having only 8 for this season?
I think because there were going to be 8 episodes.
I think
That's
so.
actually my recollection.
And there's also, too, because in the first one we voted people off the island, so you could get more and more screen time for people. And at some point, if you have too many characters to focus on, you don't care about any of them. So I think that our goal was to have a manageable group, so that you could actually get to know them.
Yeah.
Now that you're not taking people off the island, right? It's more collaborative, I assume. How does that change the nature of the challenges or the storyline?
I'm going to let you watch and see, because I think it's a really interesting... It was very interesting for us to watch about how people picked up the idea of collaboration versus a one true hero. And the dialogue on that, and the dialogue around community versus shining and being just one, having one of something.
Yeah, it's true, because even though there's no elimination, there is someone who becomes the one true hero. And Jane's right, it was a fascinating process to watch those two dynamics at play.
And ironically, and through it will seem like we planned it, but there's other stuff going on in the scripted world about that very issue. That actually even got more elevated because of what the kids were doing. Yeah.
What makes Everealm unique from other lores?
What makes... Well, I think it's... Ironically, at its core, Everealm's a family story. The Fates... You'll learn more about the Fates and where they came from. And they have this sort of new offspring that they have to worry about, but it's a family, and what rift? There was a rift, and therefore the kids need to keep coming back. The paladins need to keep coming back to make it work.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
So with your guys' flavor of fantasies, you both have huge backgrounds in it. Is there a favorite fantasy element for this particular show? What's the piece you saw and you said, we have a winner? Like, what's the piece that you love the best about this particular series?
It's interesting. I think, we have the scripted storyline's really also a family story. And it plays out a lot like any of our families, with sibling jealousies and maybe not acting to your sort of highest level. And so what was fun about that is you have sibling rivalry going on in the scripted, and then it gave the kids sort of this interesting foil.
So like the growth of the kids as it went on.
It's going on while you're having your scripted characters evolve. And there is influence. We left things open-ended enough that there was influence, that the way the kids were behaving influenced the scripted. Yeah, which is cool. It's fun.
Did you have anything you liked?
No, I'm not sure I would add. Really the most unique thing about it, which is, it's going to sound self-serving, is the idea that it's the place where we can do this immersive, interactive element. I mean, I'm one of these people. I grew up here in Los Angeles. I was going to Disneyland like in the late '60s when I was small, and I remember when you're going on the Pirates of the Caribbean and you think, oh, I could just crawl off and just sit in the bed with the pirate and the chest of treasure, and like essentially that's what we get to do.
We get to live there. That's the whole idea.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And that's to me probably the most meaningful thing. So it's
this is coming from a guy who's still the dungeon master of his same game from when he was 14.
Yeah.
So he really, if he's being honest, the most exciting thing about Everealm is that it's like being a dungeon master. As a producer, you get to like create this entire world. So it's really
fantastic.
fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of being a dungeon master, what is it like to get to shape this real life castle into the fictional world of Everealm?
Oh, it's so fun.
Yeah.
It's so fun. Well, look, it's not just us. We hire really, really well. We hired an incredible production designer, incredible creature effects through spectral motion. Our costume team is like bonkers good. The texture, and they created all of it. They didn't rent a piece. They created it from scratch. And there was a level of artisanship that happens across the board that it's just so fun. It's like they blow our minds. You walk in, you say, oh, we should have a market here. And then this market with like actual fresh food is there to give it the texture for it being real, because you have real people interacting with everything. So it has to feel real. And I think that that's the big difference between being a scripted producer, which it's where we're from, into this, is that it's not a set that can be knocked over.
Right.
It's a set that you can walk into, and that it's got textures and fabrics and food and tea and smells.
Because
and
the
all this
kids
stuff.
have to walk, because the kids are not scripted actors. when they walk in, this won't ruin it for you, but when they arrive at the castle, which they're going to do at some point, and they walk in and there's villagers and stalls and so on, if it was all entirely fake and just fake fronts and so on, it would play on the kids' faces. So that's probably
And it's really fun too. The background actors really get into it, and they like develop their own characters. And I mean, it's fantastic fun. We feel very blessed to be able to make it. So let's make it a huge success. We can do it again. It's my selfish wish.
Yes.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.